I have this sense, I have this feeling that today not only is a powerful session because of the topic and because what it can do for you, but also just this energy in this moment, the energy in our community as well. I know 2024 was a little bit frazzling, if that's even a word for everyone. Like there was this sense of, I haven't quite gotten there. I'm doing a lot of stuff, I'm heading in the direction, and yet there's like treading water. I already sense in 2025 that this is changing for a lot of people. There's a lot more clarity coming in. There's a lot more confirmation coming in. There's a lot more, even though it might not seem like it in this moment, confidence available to you. Let me know if that's landing. Let me know if either you've started to sense that too, or you're open to receiving that clarity, confirmation, confidence, this new kind of sense of direction and purpose. All of you, and I can say this with a lot of confidence, all of you have great goals and wishes and dreams. And however far along you're on the journey to actualizing them, this is a year, this is a time, this is a space where that actually gets to be making momentum and gaining traction. Today's session, knowing when to reset, refresh, or refocus, is going to help you know where to sort of come into that journey. If you've, and I know I don't speak for everyone, but if you're resonating with this, if you have tried a lot of things in the past, and whether this is in the area of your health or your business or your relationships or your own personal identity and lifestyle, and you felt like you've tried everything, but nothing has truly changed, you still have the same doubts, you still have the same fears, you still have the same problems. Maybe they look a little bit different on the surface, but they're still present. Let this be the year, let this be the moment, let this be the community where that changes. I invite you to share, to declare, to type into the comments your dedication to yourself this year. That this is when it changes. This is when I choose myself. This is when I decide, line in the sand, that whatever has happened in the past, this gets to be, a new horizon, a new frontier, a whole new you. Whatever that needs to be for you as well. Something I've learned over the last, 4 years as a life coach, but even the 6 years before that in my own personal development journey is the importance of making it specific and unique to the individual. Even though there's like, what, 350 people in this group, and I know people engage or don't engage at different levels, whilst we're all here in this community and we desire change and we desire a life that feels magical and we want to be happy and abundant and joyful and authentic, and we have all of that in common, each and every one of you are individuals. You're unique, you're precious, and so therefore will your journey be unique and precious too. So every time you come to a call, whether it's with me, whether it's with Ellie in her community, whether it's with someone else, or you're running your own stuff and you're doing your own journey and you're learning your own lessons, the biggest gift that you can give yourself, I can't give it to you, you need to give it to yourself, is to allow the customization of whatever it is you're doing, whatever it is that you're trying to change and influence and evolve and grow and become and create, starting with that fundamental, and I get to make it my way and I get to do it for me. So even in today's session, when we start going through the process and I'm asking you questions and I'm pointing out different things that you can do, that you can apply, that you can try, always making sure it comes with the just absolute knowledge that you get to customize, change, grow, and apply it in a way that suits you every time. Beautiful. Ellie says, I am invoking my angels and guides in this moment as witnesses to 2025 being the year I open to creating the free life I desire, financial freedom, peak health, and endless joy. That is beautiful. That is divine. Everyone else, jump on board. What is your devotion? What are you invoking? What are you inviting? What are you claiming? When we don't claim what we want, how are we going to create it? It's the same thing if I step into creating a painting. If I show up to my easel and I, either have no paints or every paint, and I have no brushes or every brush, like if I don't have the clarity, if I don't step in going, not necessarily this is what I want to create because I have an intuitive process, but if I don't know how I want to be, if I don't know the energy of the outcome, if I'm not willing to be in the experience, if I'm not claiming the moment, I can't really create anything. And it's the same thing with our lives. It's the same thing with our businesses. It's the same thing with our health. Whatever it is you desire to influence this year, or this day, or this week, or this month, let's start by claiming first and foremost what it is we want. And that's going to be part of today's session. So, we're going to step into that well, not in a moment. Now, if you don't already have your pen and paper handy, I feel like 2025 is my year of putting my teacher hat back on when it comes to like delivering, because I know from my 10 years as a high school teacher, but also from the past 4 years coaching, that when there is structure and when there is direction and where there is this sort of grounded energy of like, let's anchor in what we're learning and not just gather more stuff, true transformation happens. So I do have a PowerPoint today. You'll see me being extra teachery. Let me know in this moment before I pop on the PowerPoint though, are you ready? And even if you're on the replay, please act as if live. That is a really, great tip. If you're ever watching anything on the replay, don't tell you this is less important, it's less significant, it's less impactful, it's less useful. How you show up is what you get out of it. So in this moment, putting into the chat, I am ready, just like Ellie has just done. I am ready with lots of Ys. Like, what are you going to do to let me know you're ready to go? Hey, Bailey, you're ready, and exclamation marks. Perfect. Hey, Missy, beautiful yellow heart. Awesome. Now, I'm just going to be transparent. It's been so long since I've shared a PowerPoint. So give me just a sec. You can be gathering your pens and paper, doing anything that you need to do in this moment, taking a drink, and I will find the buttons that I need to press. So you probably can't even see me anymore. Let me know if that's true. Oh, I can see myself. Oh, awesome. All right. So, self-mastery session. I have rebranded our masterclasses for this community because I wanted to, again, anchor in the energy in which I'm bringing to you, but also to be little cues to let you know what is coming your way. Self-mastery, by the way, isn't about fixing yourself. It isn't about being better in order for you to do what you want, get what you want, have what you want. Self-mastery is really this acknowledgement of when you know yourself, you know how to work with yourself. So every single session of self-mastery is about knowing yourself more deeply, knowing yourself more well, so that the things that you want to create and that you want to do and you want to have and experience and all that sort of stuff is actually within your field of influence. So it's not about mastery in terms of being master over, it's mastery in terms of a deep, rich understanding and knowledge of ourselves. Knowing when to reset, refresh, or refocus is the topic that we're going to be looking at today. And like throughout this whole process, be commenting. I can still see the comments and let me know what's landing, what's resonating, and what's coming up and through for you. The more you engage, the more you receive. And obviously, if you have any questions, popping them in too. So knowing when to reset, refresh, and refocus is the topic we're looking at today, because I think there is this, let's say, disconnection in the personal development space where often we can get content, but we don't necessarily know if it's the correct content, if it's the correct time in our journey, and if we're in the correct mind space, head space, energy space to actually implement it and embody it. Hands up in the comments, emojis up in the comments if you, I don't know, done a course, watched a masterclass, read a book, listened to a podcast, and you knew, oh my God, this is fantastic freaking information. This is groundbreaking. This is giving me shivers. This is like ticking all my boxes. And it changed absolutely nothing. Like you have the information in your head, You know it resonates. You know that person was awesome and they made some good stuff. And yet it kind of did nothing. It was a drop in a lake, lost in a moment. And you were still there wondering, but what do I do? I've even received in my own personal development journey, like step by step, this is what you do. And so it didn't make any sense to me why things didn't change. Either I did the things and it didn't really have the impact I thought it would have, which is fix everything, or I knew the things, but I didn't do the things. Now, in hindsight, having worked with many, many clients who have gone through that as well, I've realized it's not because the information was wrong. It's again, it wasn't the right time, it wasn't the right energy, or myself or my clients, or perhaps you, if this is resonating, it wasn't the right fit. So that is why we're talking today about reset, refresh, or refocus, because to me, the funny emojis coming up, I'm taking that as you see yourself in those comments I was just making. Um, I view these as a few different stages, not every single stage, but a few different stages to help you clarify how you want to approach change. So it's not just get information, apply, and it works or it doesn't. It's know yourself, self-mastery, know yourself, where you're at, what you need, what you want in order to then discover what to do next. I relate to this so much. That is fantastic to know. This is probably why I'm so excited about today's session, is I genuinely get the sense that this is going to be like taking the blindfold off for so many of you, for myself included, even as I'm reinforcing, as I'm speaking, I'm like, oh yeah, that's why this is so, so important, that we don't blindly keep being on this learning cycle, implementing cycle, coaching cycle, discovery cycle, blah, blah, blah. Truly, this is a year of simplification. I know who I am. I know what I want. I know what I need, and then I can receive it. No more endless podcasts, no more endless coaches, no more endless, oh my God, let me just replan my life every single week because it's not working out. Anyone else resonate with that? When I was doing my planning for 2025, I was sitting down and it felt at the start a bit like going through the motions. Well, of course, this is what I want on my vision board, and I want to make this much money in my business. And well, I'll need to do X, Y, and Z to do that. And let's break it up into quarterly goals. And it was just all this sort of what I should do, what I thought I needed to do. And it was definitely not in the energy of like, who am I right now? What do I need right now? And what's actually accessible to me right now? And when I had that shift and I had that change and I started to go, no, 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 let's wake up to reality, my reality. What is actually necessary and needed for me? I still did my planning. I still have goals, and some of them are still the same. And yet I now know I'm connected to them and they're accessible to me. Big shift. This year, I feel it's a deep solo journey instead of seeking heaps of advice from others, but lean into my heart space more. So, relating, beautiful. Like, as a life coach, I want to keep working with people. But as a life coach, I only want to work with people when we're intersecting at the right moment. That's for me, but that's for them too. If I'm giving you my best content and it's the incorrect time for you to receive it, to apply it, to embody it, to implement it, it's kind of just like chucking it in the void. And there's nothing wrong with not being the right time and match for someone. And I think that's a gift for all of us to know when we're working with other people too, or connecting with other people as well. But that's why this is even more important than ever. It makes it so much more clear what we need to do when we need to do it. So let's, step in this direction. Awesome. So getting ready, we're already 15 minutes in. However, I really want to take the time in this moment to curate the energy of this class. I, in that moment, as soon as I said of this class, I'm like, should I dress more teachery? I just had this moment of like, do I need a whiteboard? Do I need something extra? But that's not what we're doing here. So anyway, so getting ready, I invite you. And hand on heart if it helps, because this will cut through the bullshit of the mind. I hope Facebook doesn't mind that I said that. Cutting through the BS, sinking into our heart, activating our energy, acknowledging that we're actually here present in this moment. This isn't really about what you're going to do next. It's not really about what you've done before. It's who am I right now and what do I need right here in this moment? And I open up my heart and my mind and my energy, and I'm curious to see what comes up and through, and I invite you to do the same. Be open, willing, and curious to learn more. What you put in, you will get out. Pop your intention or your sort of clarifying focus statement into the comments. What, as you put your hand on your heart, do you say to yourself to get ready for this session? To have that confidence of, I'm only going to take what I need. I'm going to run this through my own filter of what is in alignment for me. I'm going to stay curious, but I'm also going to stay honest with myself. I think sometimes we can approach stuff like this with it works or it doesn't, or it's immediate or it's never. It's good or it's bad. It's for me or it's for not. For not. Haven't used English for a while. So what do you need to say to yourself in this moment to be in the right mind, in the right body, in the right energy, in the right space? You can make that as, flowy and fruity and beautiful as you want. Write a whole paragraph if you need. Or maybe it's just a word. Faith. That is my word for 2025, by the way. Maybe it's a short sentence. I am open and curious. So set your intention. Grounded with my bare feet on the floor and resonating with my heart space. That is a gorgeous sentence. Remember, if you're on the replay, it's just as important for you to be in the right energy. The cool thing about being on the replay is you can also pause it. If you need to pause to get in the right energy, to connect to your heart space, to switch off the TV and really focus here and now, do that. All right. But who's this really for? So obviously it's for you, it's for Bailey, it's for Missy, it's for Ellie, it's for everyone who watches this and finds this and connects to this and needs this and knows this and hears this. It's for all of you. But who's it really for? I was doing a lot of thinking this year on with the things I'm creating, the life reset program, these self-mastery sessions with the downloadables and the content and the videos, like whatever I'm putting out into the world this year, I know it's for you as individuals, but who is it for in the greater scheme of things? I decided that who I'm really speaking to through you, into you, to you, is this is devoted to your most abundant, ambitious, and authentic selves. So when you do this work, I invite you also to dedicate it to the part of you, your most abundant, ambitious, and authentic self. That might be your higher self to you. That might be the woman, the person, the divine being that you're becoming. You might have your own language for it. One of my clients, her higher self, the archetype that we crafted over 4 years of coaching together, is a bad bitch queen of abundance. And that has been, I think it was like 3 or 4 sessions in. And then, 4 years later, that is still what we call her. So devoting this to that version of you, the piece of you, the part of you that exists already. They're always there and they've always been there. But this is about devoting it to them because that's who you're stepping into becoming. And it's not about being better than you are now because you're perfect. It's not about, fixing yourself because you're not broken. But this is a deep soul dedication to the becoming of all that you can be. So that is who I'm dedicating this to. And I invite you to do the same. So let's just step right into it. 20 minutes of prep. So let's now just step right into it. Why do you want change? That is a simple question. You can start putting things into the comments already. I was working with one of my clients yesterday, a different client, not the bad bitch queen of abundance. So I was working with a client yesterday, and she came to the call very focused on wanting to implement new strategies in her business. She's got big plans for this year. She knows what she wants to achieve. She's got a few different ideas for competitions and different lead generation stuff, but also classes. So she had the how, well, not the how, she had the what down pat. This is what I want to do. And she came to the session going, well, how do I do it? You know, what are the steps? What are the key things? How do I actually pull this off? And what was missing wasn't the what, because she was very clear, wasn't really the how, because you can Google that, you can look it up. She already had some ideas and I could tell her. So, what was the gap? The gap was the why. She wanted to know what to do because nothing felt obvious and nothing felt really aligned, even though it was all right there. But when I lent into the why with her, we really begin to become conscious that her expectations needed to be clearer. Why was she doing this? Why was she wanting this? Why did this even matter? These particular things that she was working towards. So, step one, what I want you to do in this moment is, first of all, well, we need two steps actually. Step one, and pop these into the comments for me, is what areas of your life do you desire to change? Just blurt them all out, put them all down. I just first need to know, what are you desiring to influence? Because you need at least that much clarity. You need to know your what. Oh, Ellie, I see. I am willing to lean into curiosity and grow today. Beautiful intention. Health and business. Beautiful. For me, mine is health. Well, I have two sort of separate things for health. One is nutrition and one is movement. Then I've got my business. I've got my garden. Very excited about that. And I've got hiking and movement and stuff like that. So, what do you want to change? And the next thing I invite you to do is to really think about, why do you want that? Because if you just wanted health, you could just stick to a diet plan and be done with it. If you just wanted business, you could pick up a business book and follow it to the T and be done with it. So I really invite you to lean into, why do you want this? And that might actually invite you to get clearer on what that looks like for you. But what I really invite you to think about is why. Why? Trying to find my mouse. So think about the area in your life you're trying to influence. What are your expectations for this? Because this was also part of when I was working with my client. She wasn't super clear until obviously in the session working with me on her expectations around it. It was just about being done, being finished, ticking the box, doing the thing, which, was logical on paper. You get a plan, you do the plan. But what really gave it clarity, what really gave her confidence and really gave her the confirmation of like, oh yeah, this is what I want to do, was knowing these things. So as I'm prompting you, writing them in the chat, writing them on your paper, actually doing this work, what are your expectations? So for example, if your area is health, what are your expectations in this area? It's not just healthier. That's not very usable and useful. It's also not very emotional and energetically connected. So what are your expectations in this area? And I invite everyone to just choose one area as we go through this. You can do it for the rest of your areas afterwards. But what are your expectations? If you feel that you begin to, just like I was sharing before when I was doing my 2025 planning, I was just writing down all the things I should want, but I wasn't really invested and connected. Like hand on heart, reconnect with yourself. Remember why you're doing this to be your most abundant, authentic, and ambitious, beautiful self. So, really reconnecting to the purpose, the why, the power. This isn't just about ticking boxes, it's about creating a life you love, full of magic and meaning. So, what are your expectations in this area? What are your requirements? What do you need to happen or want to happen? What are certain elements of this area that are non-negotiable for you? And what are your terms of fulfillment? What do I mean by that? What are your terms of fulfillment? Is making sure that you're very clear on what's going to be fulfilling to you. If making 10K in my business was enough to fulfill me, I would have been happy 2 years ago. And I said 10K months in my business. That was a goal for a very long time. And then I achieved it and I received it. And I was like, oh, that wasn't actually the fulfillment requirement for me. Fulfillment was, making that 10K a month and doing it through working with clients I really loved and certain amount of hours a week and being able to be creative. So my terms of fulfillment wasn't on what the outcome was, it was how I felt about it. It was how I got there. It was around my energy and my actual enjoyment of the process. So thinking about whatever area you're working on, what are your terms of fulfillment for it? Another example is when I lost 25 kilos. I had the goal of lose weight, and that just sort of meant lose an endless amount of weight. I didn't actually have a goal weight. It was just like, how much weight can I lose? How small can I get? Because obviously, thinner is better. Obviously, unexamined thoughts at the time. And then when I got down to 57 kilos, I was not happy with my body. I didn't like how it felt. I didn't like how it looked. I didn't like the energy I had. I felt really uncomfortable. It was easy to maintain at the start, but that's only because I had gotten into some unhealthy habits in the first place. So, whilst I received my goal and my outcome and I ticked that box, I didn't fulfill my terms of fulfillment. I wasn't fulfilled by what I had achieved. So that is why I think it's so important that you know before you begin and you know throughout the process what is actually your fulfillment goals, your terms of fulfillment. So just to recap my 3 questions and remember to share them as well. What are your expectations in this area? What are your requirements? And what are your terms of fulfillment? Not sure if there's a problem with the comments coming through. So if you're busily writing away in your own notepad, at least pop an emoji in to let me know that you're hearing me, you're receiving this, and maybe that you're just a bit busy writing down all your things. If you're on the replay, just tag me, or you can send me, a message or something. All right, I'll just give one more moment for that because I know I'll ask a lot of questions and it might open up a bit of a can of worms. So one more minute and then we'll move on. This is also why I love doing PowerPoints and recorded sessions, is that you can revisit it, you can pause it, you can apply it, and you can, do it at your own pace too. Awesome. Thanks, Bailey. By the way, there will be time on this call today for you to get a little bit of workshopping, coaching on the particular areas you're working on, and also some cards. So that will be coming because we want to make it practical, we want to make it magical, and we want to make sure it is customized to you. Alrighty. So this is the moment where we start to think about, do you need a reset? Do you need a refresh? Or do you need a refocus? So thinking about what I shared right at the start, if we're sort of trying to apply the wrong strategy at the wrong time, it doesn't matter how good that strategy is, and it doesn't really matter how hard you work on it or commit to it, it won't mesh, it won't gel, and it won't work out. Some things might change, you might learn and grow, but at the same time, we're wanting to meet the right strategy at the right time. So you're actually creating an impact and having an influence in the area of your life that you're working on. Just to reinforce why it's so important to know what approach to have and where to apply it, have you ever been sort of in the mood or the energy where you burn everything to the ground and then you realize the problem wasn't the structure? No worries, Bailey. I look forward to it. So I've done that in my business quite a few times. I've done that in my health quite a few times. I've definitely sort of done that in my creativity as well. Like I was literally like, oh, it's not working. So let me just, burn it all down, start fresh, wipe it clean. I nearly did that with this Facebook group at the end of last year. Not because it was a problem, but because I just wasn't approaching it with the right perspective of what needed to happen to influence change. So let me know if this is true. You can just say, yep or nope. Have you ever burnt something to the ground and then realized, oh, that thing wasn't the problem? I'm dumping myself in for that times a million. Have you ever stopped working on a plan only to realize that the issue wasn't the process? It wasn't the strategy. So you go, okay, I've made this plan or I've received this plan from my coach, or I read it in a book and, logical, sounds great. Oh, yes. And you're like, oh, but it's not really having a result that I wanted, or it's not what I expected. And so you just stop. And then you maybe try something else, or you get a different plan or whatever, cut and paste. And oh, it turns out it wasn't what you were doing that was the issue. Sounds like these are resonating. Awesome. Or have you ever waited until a new year, 2025, a new month, a new week, a new day to start, and then found out that the timing didn't actually change anything? 2024, I generally gave up on everything because I felt like it was completely pointless. Yeah. And what I see with that, Ellie, and what I sense with that, because I've totally been there as well, it's almost like, um, I don't know why this came to mind, but you've got, because I've got my fan on here, like you're plugging it into a socket that's not connected, or you're plugging it into a socket and you're not turning it on. So it's, again, it's the timing, it's the right moment, it's the right thing for the right time. Turns out none of it was the problem, definitely. And I think that's become very, very clear for many of us in business specifically, not that we all need to be in business here, but the things that worked a year ago don't work now because that was a year ago. The things that might work in a year might not work now because that's in a year. It's so important to know where we're at, what we need now, and then the willingness to do that, apart from my perspective. Turns out none of it was a problem apart from my perspective. Yeah, totally. So that's why we're talking about this today. So choosing your approach to change matters. Using this Facebook group as an example, I had this feeling that I wanted to, really, especially in 2025, because I've got the Life Reset program now. I've really redesigned and restructured my business. I have this bigger goal, mission, North Star, and I felt so good energetically, emotionally, and mentally around who I am and what I'm doing. But it kind of felt like this group, because it's gone through so many evolutions, I'm like, do I burn it to the ground? Do I just close it? Do I step forward? Do I move on? And I'm so glad that I have this process of checking in with myself and like, do I need a reset? Do I need a refresh? Do I need a refocus? Because to me, a reset would be closing it down. And I didn't do it. I kept hesitating because obviously a part of me knew that burning it to the ground, starting fresh, starting over, having a full blown reset wasn't the right time, wasn't the right strategy, wasn't the right thing. Then I thought, well, do I need a refresh? So that, could look like a million things, but for the Facebook group, that could look like uh, a new name. It could look like a new structure. It could look like really calling in new people. Like it could mean a bunch of things. I'm like, oh, do I need a refocus? When I got to that point, I was like, oh, yeah, it just needs a refocus. My group now needs to align with my North Star rather than the old North Star. So it wasn't so much as a reset. I didn't need to start and open a new, close this and open a new Facebook group. It didn't really need just a cosmetic or aesthetic refresh because that wasn't quite deep enough. It needed a refocus. The group needed to have the same goals as me. The group needed to have the same North Star as me. The group needed to be in alignment with me. And so refocusing, I was able to step into this group this year with not having burnt it to the ground, so pat on the back for me, but also knowing with a lot more certainty that what I was doing now actually matters. These self-mastery sessions, turning up with a PowerPoint, really making sure that what I'm doing is in alignment, serves me better, serves you better. And I no longer have that icky question of, do I stay, do I go? Do I stay, do I go? Do I stay, do I go? That wasn't in alignment. My refocus was. I feel so seen right now. Beautiful. A big part is discipline for me instead of getting rattled in all areas with my emotions, in all areas of life with my emotions. Yeah. And I think that's another thing. Like, let's just talk about discipline for a second. Let's step to the side. When we're not clear on if we need a reset, a refresh, or a refocus, we can think discipline's the problem. If I just work harder, if I have a bigger plan, if I fill my diary full of stuff to do and tick it all off every single day, if I'm plugging away, if I'm striving, if I fill up my days with learning and applying and education and putting myself out there and blah, 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 blah. If I'm just more disciplined at the thing, at the strategy, at the goal, at the doing, then it must, work out. But the thing is, if we're like, say, for example, I had not really examined this and I was just like, nah, F it. I'm closing the group. You can't convince me otherwise. I don't want to think about it anymore. I would have sat down and I would have made a plan on how to close the group, how to DM everyone about it, and how to invite them into my new Facebook group. I would have had a list of things to do. I would have plugged away at accomplishing it. I would have done all of these things. I would have taken all this time. I would have created a new group, new name, new this, new that, new other, new. I mean, I'm so good at working. So I could be disciplined. And as if it's disciplined in the wrong area at the wrong time with the wrong strategy, well, I call that wasted effort and I call that wasted energy. So that is why today in this session, we are talking about knowing when you need a reset, refresh, or refocus, because that can change not only like what you do, obviously, and making sure it's in alignment with you, but it can save you so much time. It can save you so much grief. It can save you so much wasted energy. It can save you a lot of regret as well. I would have regretted closing this group. I would have got over it, obviously, because I can manage my own emotions and like, it's okay, forgiveness and all that. But I didn't have to go through that. So I'm so glad I had this process. For me, it's focusing on health, food, and daily movement as it's playing havoc on my emotions. That's what I'm meaning. Discipline's obviously a great thing, especially if we know that certain things will help us feel better and do better. But I think even this process in regards to that, if it's been difficult to focus on health, food, and daily movement, we get to examine, A, are you clear on your expectations, your requirements, and your terms of fulfillment? And then B, what level are you coming in at? Is it a reset? Is it a refresh? Is it a refocus? Different times in my health journey. Let's speak about gym in particular. Like I started a new gym last year. That was a definite reset and it worked. But at other points in my life, if I had just quit a gym and joined another one, and it's just because, let's say, I had lost enjoyment of my program, I would have just needed a refresh. I didn't need to reset, start a new gym, get into new habits, drive to a new place, all that sort of stuff. So this is my question to everyone now. Looks like you already got your answer there, Bailey. So, in the area of the life that you're focusing on at the moment, do you need a reset? Start from scratch. And there is no shame there, by the way. Knowing when to quit because it's no longer in alignment with you, that's a gift. So, do you need a reset? Do you need a refresh? Do you need a refocus? And just pop that in. So, we got refocus from Bailey. Remember, if you're on the replay, commenting and tagging me. And it's okay if you're not 100% sure, just feel into this moment what feels right for you. Since I started and created the Life Reset program, which I've nearly finished round one, round two, starting February 3rd, this became so obvious to me that we need to talk about this kind of stuff because it's not just about plan, it's not just about strategy, it's not just about discipline, it's about knowing the right time. It's about knowing the right energy we need to be moving in, planning in, and acting in. No reset. I feel that the mission statement and my community is not the problem. Beautiful. This step, even just identifying reset, refresh, refocus, can take so much weight off your shoulders and make your planning or whatever comes next so much easier. So make sure you clarify this first, okay? Now let's go to the next slide. We want to talk making momentum because I don't want to just give you information. I want to help you apply information and embody it. So know your why. We got very, very clear on that a couple of slides ago. So making sure you're clear on your why, expectations, requirements, fulfillment. Identify your move. Are you making a move on a reset, a refresh, or a refocus? Truly, do not skip that step. Save yourself the grief. 3, and we're doing this here in the moment with each other. So put these in the comments. Choose 1 to 3 micro steps to start. A micro step is something you can complete in one action. The reason I'm asking for micro steps here and now is because I've also been the person, but seen a lot of people go, oh, my next step is to launch a business. My next step is to completely redesign my website. My next step is to create a new business plan. And whilst these are, let's say, needed goals or actions or whatever, they're not doable in a moment. They have many more steps involved. There's probably different levels of each of these where you might need to reset, refresh, refocus, like different things going on. So a micro step is an action you can take either just in one go or in 1 hour or in 1 day, something that is accomplishable without any more like self-analysis and evaluation. So choose 1 to 3 micro steps to start this process and write them in the comments. So we've got being open to collab with more coaches and influencers, even if I'm scared. Beautiful. Not only do I love that, but that's one of mine this year too. My business coach is actually now in Brisbane. So we might be collabing in different ways and going to things together, which is actually very exciting. Number 2, post content on TikTok 3 times per day, mini videos. Beautiful. And I just want to clarify here with that one. Does that feel like a micro step to you, or does that feel actually quite heavy? The only reason I say that is for me personally, social media, especially TikTok, very emotionally, energetically draining. So for me, that would be a huge step. It wouldn't be a micro one for me. But for you, because I know you're on TikTok a lot more, maybe it totally feels good. A micro step. Cool. The next thing, so easy for you to do that. Maybe I should hire Ellie for my social media. So lost my thought. Allocate a time and space. That's another reason why having a micro step for this stage is really important because you can actually go, where does it fit into my diary? If it's change my entire business or sign 10 clients or, whatever it is, um, how do you schedule that in? So make sure your micro step is manageable, actionable, and doable now without any more self-analysis or time-consuming processing, and schedule it in time and space. And you can just say scheduled if you've like already identified, or you can let me know when you're doing that. And your third one is be open to share more influencers content without fear people will judge me. Beautiful. Awesome. Very cool. And finally, celebrate each step. I would recommend everyone celebrate the step of having done this work with me today. I am the biggest proponent of celebration. If you are one of my one-to-one clients, you probably hear me go every single session. How are you celebrating that? Oh, you did this thing? How are you celebrating that? Oh, you've been putting that off for 6 months and you finally did it, even though it was really small. How are you celebrating that? Celebration is necessary. And it's not just for the big stuff, it's for any step that helps you move into alignment. And celebration doesn't have to be spend $50 at dinner. It doesn't have to be buy a new outfit, and it doesn't have to, be anything in particular. It's about a conscious honoring of what you've done. A full week of sharing mini videos this week. Awesome. I'm getting my eyebrows done as a celebratory gift to myself. I love that. And I love that we're the same person, Ellie, because I've been looking at my eyebrows lately and I'm like, I need a professional to sort these out. Not because they're terrible, but just, trim, shape, all the stuff that I don't do at home. Um, so I love that. Cool. If you haven't finished this process, I invite you to screenshot at least this page. Know your why, identify your move, 1 to 3 micro steps, allocate time and space, and celebrate. Oh, my thing is length. Just need a bit of a trim. Looking like a crazy person. Beautiful. Ooh, okay. So you've done amazing work today. You're going to celebrate it. You're going to share it with me. You're going to acknowledge it, and you're going to make sure that you stay conscious and connected to it. But what do we do next? What do we do after this? So, two things. I announced this yesterday. I want you to come and join me in my free 3-day challenge. It's a completely new challenge. No one's seen it before. It's totally, absolutely, divinely new. I'm just trying to get the link so I can copy and paste it here. So, the 3-day challenge is called Reset and Renew. It's helping you design the next chapter of your life. And over the 3 days, we're going to get very clear on my brain just totally stopped. We're going to get really clear on where you're at, really clear on your soul goals and where you're going, and then we're going to create a practical plan so that you can implement everything. So think about the practicality and the clarity you got today. We're going to do it over 3 days, very much more specific, all areas of your life, your ability to get feedback, get coaching, get help, get support. I mean, I want you to come sign up. So that is the link. I've just popped it into the comments for the Reset and Renew Designing Your Next Chapter in 3 days. Sign up. I would also do a shout out. If you're signing up or if you know that this would serve other people, please share it as well. I want as many people getting as help as possible. So share it far and wide. Also, and I need to start letting more people know this. So the next round of the Life Reset program is February 3rd. But the early bird sign up ends January 15th. So that's in 5 days. So you have 5 days to receive 20% off the full price. And also you get a bonus Prep for Success course. So this is going to help you not only prepare for success in the program, but you can actually use that course, this Prep for Success standalone course, when you're going to implement or change or grow in any area of your life moving forward, and you get to keep that course. So if you're going to join us for the next round of the Life Reset program, so you've identified maybe today that you need a reset in your health or you want to reset in your entire life, not about burning it to the ground, but really approaching it from ground zero. building your foundation strong, getting coaching, getting support, getting guidance, getting weekly assistance and feedback, and staying on track. That is what the Life Reset is about. Come and join us and totally sign up before January 15th. So 5 days to receive the 20% off and the bonus course. Obviously, you can sign up after that, but I just want to make it clear if this is for you and if you're going to do it, why not get in before the early bird? So I will share the link for that as well. If you have questions about it, by the way, because I know any investment requires time, attention, and thought, just reach out to me, DM me, email me, whatever. I'm happy to answer all of your questions. And if now is not the time, like you're like, for whatever reason, February is not the time you're going to go through a life reset, pop yourself on the wait list. Let me see if I can remember that URL off the top of my head. Pop yourself on the wait list. You receive emails every single week, mini coachings to help you through a reset, refresh, refocus. The Life Reset program kind of covers all of these things. And then you'll be notified when the next round opens as well. Alrighty. We're going to get to some cards in just a second, but I want to ask you here and now, what have you taken away from today's session? What is your key takeaway? What is your key action? What is the thing that has really left you going, that is why I showed up? So let me know what that is in the comments. Remember, if you're on the replay, hashtag replay, write it, tag me. And actually, I probably don't need to be sharing my screen if it's just this beautiful slide of divine guidance. So let's stop share. All right, so Ellie's beautiful takeaway that I don't need to change my goal or me to achieve what I desire. Beautiful. Sometimes we just need to retune into where we're at, what we want, and what works for us right now. That was really the focus and the point of today's session. So I'm so glad you received. So refocus, awesome. So that was your takeaway, that you're actually needing a refocus. Beautiful. I'm actually pretty keen on with the Life Reset program. I've been doing some planning with my coach, and we've got reset, refresh, refocus, reinforce, which is something that comes after the program. And well, I think this is just a R for always, which is rest, which is making sure that we're taking rest while we're doing all this amazing work. Another one that I can't keep showing up in what my already existing community. I'm assuming that you mean that I can keep showing up in my already existing community to achieve my goal. So you can keep showing up in your community to achieve your goal. Yeah, cool. I was like, am I just reading this wrong? Beautiful. Awesome. And if you haven't already, identifying what your my phone autocorrects things as well, and often it is wrong. Sometimes it'll autocorrect something that was grammatically correct, spelling correct, totally logical. It'll just change things for its own nefarious reasons, I guess. Awesome. And yeah, if you haven't already, sharing what your micro steps are. And if you write down a micro step and then part of you freaks out on accomplishing it, it's not micro enough. Give yourself some love and compassion and get curious. What is a micro manageable step? If it's not manageable, it's not micro. If it's too scary to do, it's not micro. If it feels wrong, well, first of all, cross it off, but then choose something that feels right, feels doable, and actually is something you're going to do. So that's very exciting. Now we're going to get to some divine guidance. Now, let's see. I will pull a card for everyone on this topic, reset, refresh, refocus, really stepping into your most abundant, aligned beautiful, what are my other words? Ambitious, authentic self. But then also, I'll pull an individual card for you if you desire. So start to think about what's your question, what's your query, where would you like confirmation or clarity? But first of all, let's do one for the whole class. So in this moment, what is going to serve the group, the community, the class, on knowing themselves and the current situation more deeply? What is the message for everyone in this moment? All right, so we've got this like stopwatch and it's been busted by these flowers. Just immediately, I get this like permission energy. So this is from your guides to you, this permission energy around breaking free from the timelines that might be feeling constrictive or restrictive to you. If you've determined to yourself that I need to I don't know, achieve my goals in health this month, or I need to totally book out my clients in my business this week or this year. I need to do something. And the timeline itself is constricting and confining and actually weighing you down. This is your permission to choose a more thriving way. I think this is another really good lesson around self-mastery is like knowing what's actually going to support you to grow and not just support you to perform. You are not here on this earth to be productive. You are here on this earth to live a peaceful, abundant life that's in alignment with who you are. And sometimes that's challenging, and sometimes that's work, and sometimes, we need to dig in and get discipline, of course. But if timelines and deadlines are damaging your ability to show up for yourself, this is your invitation, this is your permission slip, and this is your reminder. Time is just a construct, blah, blah, blah. Like you don't need it if it is not serving you. All right. So let me read what's on the back and we'll see what's landing and resonating, and then we'll go to your questions. So there is a quote from Adam Grant. If you judge your worth by your achievements, you feel worthless whenever you fall short of your goal. Stable self-confidence comes from learning to separate your performance from your self-esteem. Excellence is a reflection of effort, skill, and luck, not your value as a person. Who else resonated with that? So thinking about even with your little micro actions that you wrote down today, making sure even the accomplishment of those, it's not a reflection of your worth. It's not a reflection of your value. You are whole enough, amazing, lovable, worthy right here and now, regardless, before, during, and after you do anything. So a question, and I invite you to answer this question. Am I measuring my worthiness by my output? A great gift you can give yourself is being honest. Am I measuring my worthiness by my output? And your affirmation that you can take with you, if the answer to that was yes. My work is not my worth. And here is the picture again for you, Ellie. I'll post it in the group afterwards too, so you can see it more closely and more clearly. Beautiful. You release that. Okay, I won't shuffle that back in, so I remember to post it. If I don't post it, just remind me, please. And now we come to your personal cards. Oh, it's the 10th of January at 10 a.m. That's pretty fun. So I'm assuming that's what you want to card on, Bailey. You've got two programs you're interested in doing. at the start of the year. I'm curious which one I need to focus on first. So you've already decided that you're going to do both, I assume, by that comment. So we'll start with Bailey and then we'll go to Ellie. And if there is anyone else, you can pop in a question or an area of life, especially the one we've worked on today. That makes a lot of sense. So clarifying Bailey, you've already decided to do both, and this is just about the order. Both are at the same time in the year. Which do I need to prioritize? Okay. So just some guidance that is coming through immediately is thinking back on this lesson that we all just went through. If you were to apply this process to that question, and maybe you were throughout the session or maybe you weren't, but I really invite you to consider your expectations, your requirements, and your terms of fulfillment. So I'm assuming here, and I could be wrong, that these are either similar programs or maybe they're about different areas of your life. But I'd really invite you to get clear, maybe by the middle of the year or the end of when these things would finish, what would be your expectations, requirements in terms of fulfillment? Like, where do you desire to be? And then allowing that to shape which one you choose. Because it's the same thing I was talking about before. If you receive the best program from the best coach, but it's the wrong time, it's not a fit. So when you get clear on your expectations and your purpose behind why you're working on yourself and doing courses and programs, or where you want to be by mid-year or end of year or whatever, it will help you get clearer on what is the right fit, because there will be like a clear kind of connection there. So allowing yourself to ask those questions. All right. We've got Lemuria creating heaven on earth. It's happening. Few things coming through on this one. So remember, take what resonates and also go deeper into it. Your intuition is on point too. Creating heaven on earth. I really get the sense here this is about what is going to feel the most fulfilling and create like your version of heaven on earth. So really making sure that which one maybe you're doing more out of obligation or expectation of like, oh, I should do this, or this would logically be good, or that's going to tick boxes, and which one is calling your heart, your soul, your mind, your sense of fulfillment and adventure. There is always these crossroad points in our lives where we get to go left or right. And sometimes when we're just going, well, left is logical and right is emotional, and we just choose the logical by default, we can lose an opportunity. So this is like an encouragement to lean into that sense of wonder, that sense of grace, that sense of maybe where your guides are already drawing you. I would also just say in general, depending on your your desire, there can be a way to do both if that's in alignment with you. But I get the sense that it might not be, that there's actually one that it feels like a bit of a winner from a soul level, from a creating heaven on earth kind of vibe. And that's the one that's, I think, going to be the most fulfilling simply because it's the right time, the right space, the right energy. If you truly equally desire to do both, I'd be asking questions of yourself and of your situation. How can I do both? Because if it's the right time and both of these courses are meant for you right now, there is a way for you to fit those both in. But if you're truly sensing, I only have the capacity for one, go with the one that's calling your soul. Thank you for your question. All right, Ellie, whatever I need to hear for me. And Missy, if you're still there or if it's someone else on asking your question, whatever Ellie needs to hear. Alrighty. So, Ellie, you've got Break the Chain, Ancestral Patterns, Healing, Rewriting the Future. So many things I see within this. I think you're deeply connected and grounded to your ancestry. There's definitely a sense here of a deep devotion and faith to what has come and what will come. But what I see as the message here, though, is being a little bit more, I don't know if demanding is the right word, being a little bit more willing to define what is for you and what is for not. I think there's maybe a little bit of hesitancy on not going against tradition or not going against, um, expectations of others. And this is just that in your own mind, in your own energy, having drawn the line of, I'm not going to step outside my own integrity anymore. This is not a rejection of anything else. It is an embracing of yourself. So I think that little perspective shift will really help you through this process of even when I say no to someone, that is never a rejection, that is an acceptance and an embracing of me. So any no, any boundary, any breaking of the chain, any release, any let go, this is not a rejection. This is an acceptance. 100% fear of being judged by my community, but then if they judge, are they even my community? Yeah, so just getting out of the conversation in your mind of rejection, judgment, denial, and just really allowing your focus to be, look at how well I'm embracing and accepting myself. What's coming to me in this moment to take that a little bit further for you, Ellie, is at nighttime when we switch on the light, it's not because we're rejecting the dark, it's because we're embracing the light. We're receiving the light. And I think you need to give yourself that gift as well. I'm not doing this against them. I'm doing this for me. Oh, it looks like it's resonating. Beautiful. Missy, I do not have a specific cue. However, the group card was a subject last week. Beautiful. Would you like me to pull you a card in general like I did for Ellie, or was that group card resonant and your message for today? Just let me know. You're so welcome, Ellie. Let's organize a coffee chat over Zoom soon and we can catch up. Awesome. While I'm waiting for Missy's answer, and it's all okay, whatever way you go with that answer, Missy. Um, so these self-mastery sessions will be every month, and we'll also have, I think I also called it self-mastery, but it's, tarot and oracle reading focused. It is more specifically around awareness and confirmation, whereas this is more around attunement and alignment and action. So both of these sessions are all still about self-mastery. One is more a coaching session with mindset and strategy. The other is more tarot and divine guidance sort of stuff. So you can find those in the event section of the group. Make sure you click going, make sure you share it with others, and make sure you show up and do the work as well, whether that's live or on the replay. If you want to be a part of the 3-day challenge, the dates for that are the 20th to the 23rd of January. There'll be a pop-up Facebook group. Everything will be in there. So you can do it live on the days or you can go through it on the replays. It is free. Please join. Please share it. Please show up. And if you would like to join the next round of the Life Reset program, I highly recommend. It is 12 weeks working with me, weekly coaching, weekly lessons, weekly accountability. And if you would like one-to-one support as well, is an option. Make sure you sign up before January 15th so you can receive the 20% savings on the group or the group plus one-to-one, as well as a Prep for Success bonus course, which is absolutely free and will serve you in the program and then in any other area of your life that you're wanting to improve, work on now or in the future. If you've got any questions, reach out or click the link and go sign up. All right, thank you for the session and channel. Sending love and light. Sending love and light to you as well, Ellie, and magic and a beautiful rest of your day to every single person live or on the replay. I will see you next time.